Hi, everyone. I'm really happy today to have on our Ask the Expert series, Krista Franks. Krista is an introspective explorer and the co-founder of Owl and Key, and it's a lifestyle design company. So, Krista, if you'll just ask to join, that would be great. There we go. And there she is.
Oh, hi.
How are you?
Fantastic. Settled into a new house today and feeling great. How about yourself?
I'm doing great. Thank you. I was just doing a little bit of an introduction. So, you help people to redefine success, unlock their inner wisdom, and define a life with intention. You help them get clear on what's most important to them so that they can live the life they desire with unshakable confidence and peace of mind. Sign me up. You offer a program called Strategic Planning for Life. This is the holistic intention setting system that takes you from where you are to where you want to be, even if you aren't quite sure where that is just yet. And I love that you and your husband, your life partner, started this company when you were starting your family so that you could more freely design your days and your lives around what mattered most, your time. So my audience, the Elaine Wellness audience, tends to be women who are 40 plus. And that seems to be a time of life. Maybe you've had a baby later in life. I have girlfriends who've had babies in their 40s. Maybe you're going through a divorce. Maybe you have lost parents. I'm in a position of caregiving to a 92-year-old mom. So lots happening in midlife. So give us some ideas as women who are taking care of everyone else. Where can we start?
Hitting the nail on the head with that group and being in a position where you're giving so much of yourself to anyone and everyone, right? You're
Mm-hmm.
taking care of your career, you're taking care of your family, both your children, but also your parents. You're giving to your community. There's so many things that you're juggling. And so, I think what we find the most is that our program is built around intentionality. So we want to live with more intention. We want to design with intention. And we believe that first part of that, in order to do that, we have to have this deep sense of self-awareness. But when we're just like pouring our energy out everywhere else, it
Mm-hmm.
takes a hard stop to
Yeah.
look and say, like, okay, what do I need? Right? We think about it, Phil and I always talk about it as a cup. We think about our energy as a cup. We keep, and this is something that not just we think, but we've heard many other people think. I'm sure your audience feels and thinks the same way. We just keep the same cup, but
Mm-hmm.
we're not filling it back up. But what fills you up might not fill my cup up. And
Right.
so, and so we have to get very clear about, okay, if I do a hard stop, what are the things that if I'm constantly giving my energy out of that cup, what are
Right.
the things that are going to put that energy back in my cup? And so we spend a lot of time early on doing that deep sense of self-awareness to understand, what is it that gives me energy? What lights me up? What makes me feel really good? And one of the first questions we ask, and this is something that anyone listening can ask yourself right now, is how have I been treating myself lately? There, once you answer that question, if it's like, I could do a little bit better of a job, we have a tool that we use later on in the program. It's an 8-week experience, an 8-week course that we take people through. But once we do that deep dive into self-awareness, like one of those questions is, how have I been treating myself lately? Then we take people through this activity, and this is something that anyone listening can also do, a drives and drains analysis of your energy. So make a little T-chart, and on one side of the T-chart, you put drives, like what's driving me, what's lighting me up, what's giving me energy, what's boosting me, and be very specific about how you're spending your time. And on the other side, you put drains, what's draining my energy, when I'm pouring out of my cup, what's really bringing me down. And then designing from there to take some things out, to really let go of some things so that you can do more of what you want to do to fill up your cup. Because when you are taken care of, you can take care of everything else outside of you. And I think we often forget that part. We think, well, I just need to keep going, and I need to keep taking care of everyone and keep pouring it out. But if we're not taken care of, we can't take care of everyone else. And let's be honest, this group listening, I mean, we keep the world spinning. So we need to be taken care of so that we can fully take care of and love the people that we want to, really fully invest in and do all the things that we want to do.
Right. So I think, and I speak from experience, I think a lot of women, we often, we work on obligation, and I should, and I don't want to disappoint people, right? We're wired as women to never want to disappoint anyone, hurt someone's feelings. Can you speak to that a little bit when we're making this list of the drives and the drains?
Is it gives you the ability to consciously choose yes or no. So I can say, you know what, I know that I should sign up for that committee, but I know that the position on that committee, what the committee serves, it's very draining for me. And if I say yes to that should, I'm going to say no to something else that's very fulfilling to me. Maybe that's gardening and being outside with family or doing something like that. I'm going to say no to that thing. And so if we constantly just choose these shoulds, then we're saying no to so many other things. And I think what we find with our work is just the ability to more consciously say yes to the things that are true for me and no to the things that are not. And that's different for everyone. And so when we have that deep sense of self-awareness, we go heavily into what are your values? Like, what do you actually value? What do you actually deem to be most important in your life? The top 5 to 7 things. And then we talk about life intentions. What are those things that you define as what you truly want in life? And then let those things, plus personality, who you are, let those things drive those yeses and those no's, so you can be at peace. You can have peace of mind with saying no to someone, even if you think that they're going to be upset about it, or that you should do it and you're kind of scared not to do it. And here's what we found. And I think that this is probably the best feedback for anybody who's considering, like, oh, should I say no to that? If you're tiptoeing on that, do it. Because what we found so many times is that when you stand in your truth and you say yes to the right things that are good for you, and no, what you do is, like, we've seen so many positive outcomes from that. Like, to give you an example, I've said no to an event with friends that was upcoming. It got to that day and I was like, you know what, friends, I am so drained. I'm so sorry, but I'm going to go ahead and say no to this. I need the pause because I need to take time for myself. And that group responded and said, thank you. I feel the exact same way today.
Oh, wow.
Nobody did it. And we just rescheduled it. And that happens all the time.
Right. So anyone who's listening, are you coming up with your list of what drives you and what drains you? And if you are, drop it in the chat. Tell us. Is this sparking any ideas for you? So I loved, you sent me over some questions. One of them was, what are you most proud of about yourself and why? I love this. I think especially for women, right? Again, we're often very hard on ourselves. We haven't done enough, whatever enough is. So talk to us about that.
Constantly. And so one of the parts of our program is that we're trying to build up that encouraging voice inside our heads. Right. Of course, there are areas that there are a lot of things that drain us and we want to resolve those things and fix those. But we also need to ask ourselves, what am I most proud of? Like, what am I excited about? What am I inspired by? But oftentimes when we answer their question of what am I most proud of, we go back in history, right? We look at these,
Mm-hmm.
what we call case studies. They're like positive case studies of when we've done
Right.
something that's either taught us a lot about who we are or made us feel like we're strong and confident. And we use those moments to really help build that voice or build our decision-making process or to build that deep sense of self-awareness so that when
Right.
we're making decisions now or in the future, we can feel really good about them. But I just think for women, we do get into that. We get into that narrative of not enoughness. And
Mm-hmm.
so we just like come back to like, okay, but let's talk about your superpowers. Let's talk about like what you do so uniquely well. And let's lean
Yeah.
into that and use that to your advantage to design. This whole process is about designing your life with intention. So if you're
Right.
coming at design with this like very critical eye all the time of yourself, there's you don't get the outcome that you desire, right? You're not believing in possibility. But if we come
Right.
from a place of like, you know what, like, I'm good at this thing, this is my superpower, I can really lean into that, it really yields such better results that you feel really good about.
Right. And I think something I'm trying to learn too is things I'm not good at or I don't really like to do. Can I hand them off to someone else?
Well, yes, 100%. Like as much as I try, and I've seen some friends in here and they know this about me, I don't cook. Like my sister, she has always been a wonderful cook. She has a food business. When I'm in the kitchen with her, Elaine, she only allows me to cut and butter the bread. That is my only job. And for a while, I shamed myself about it. And I
Right.
thought, in order to be a good mom, in order to take care of my friends who are having, I need to learn how to cook. I need to be able to cook. But I keep trying, and it's not a place where I find peace of mind. It stresses me out. And so,
Right.
and my husband, Phil, he also doesn't enjoy the cooking process or the cleaning dishes. So we've optimized our lifestyle and we use Sunbasket and my sister's business, Food by Lish. And the majority of our meals are frozen that we just pull out of the freezer, but they're family meals. So we still get to sit down and have a family meal. They're
Right.
nutritious.
Okay.
And then we don't have to clean the dishes. I mean, we clean the plates because we still dish it out and really make it feel like a family meal. But, you know, 3 nights a week, we're doing frozen meals that we don't have to put together. And that really works for us.
Right.
And it alleviates a lot of my shouldness.
Right. And beating yourself up that you should know how to cook or like to cook or whatever the should is, right?
Really wonderful team session the other day. And so it's really cool to go through this with businesses and teams because
Right.
we're having personal conversations that don't often happen in the workplace. But one of the top things that came up was this idea of like wasted time. And so people were feeling like I waste time when I do something that I'm not really that great at, or that really drains my energy, but it's like a little thing. Someone said,
Mhm.
I keep mowing the yard, but I know there are people who could help me mow the yard. And they're just little things. And I think that's the part about this work is it's just little incremental changes that we make that make our
Right.
life so much fuller. We always think it's like, quit your job and travel the world and do all this crazy stuff, but it's really not. It's like
Right.
these incremental changes that we call it like compound, how money compounds over
Yeah.
time. All of these little things compound over time and make
Yeah.
such a difference.
Huge difference. Huge difference. So talk to us about how can we figure out what we truly want in life, right? Because we can come on Instagram and we can see what everyone else is doing and we should have what they have. How do we get into what we truly want?
Right. And when we're raised, so many of us, so I think we can all know this, we kind of put on these layers of what you
Mm-hmm.
should strive for, what you should achieve, what you
Right.
should do. And I'm guessing that your audience, very, high achievers, high performers in life, in terms of you go out and you do the things in life and you throughout your life, right? And we kind of like put these layers on of, oh yeah, I should graduate college. I should graduate high school. I should graduate college. I should get a job and I should make this amount of money. I should get some kind of house. And we just keep putting all of these things on. And a lot of times those are, from our family,
Mm-hmm.
from society, from our culture, from our religions, from like any external source.
Right.
Redefine success is because we believe it should come from the inside out. That
Right.
inner wisdom that, like, Elaine, do you have that little whisper that ever
Yeah, that little
happens?
voice. Yeah.
That little voice is like telling you what you want. It's
Yeah.
like in there, but how often do you ignore it or just brush it off because you're like, no, that doesn't make any sense.
Right. Well, and I think it's a superpower for women. We are
I agree with you.
wired with the gift of intuition. And how often, yeah, do we dismiss it? Because again, do we want to people please someone? Do we want to caretake someone? You know?
Put that little whisper and that inner wisdom and that intuition, we kind of put it in the closet, right? We just like
Mm-hmm.
suppress it. We just push it down because we're like, no, 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 no. But if we let that out and we let that start to practically let the inner wisdom come out, let that intuition come out, write it down on paper, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we have a process in the book, an activity that we do called the deathbed activity. And instead of deathbed exercise, I will use the older woman self. So like, Elaine, imagine your older woman self. Can you envision her?
Huh.
Connect with what she looks like, what she
Right.
feels like to you, who she is.
Right. Okay. Will she go gray? Hmm.
My older self is totally gray as I have so many grays now, but I just like, it's like a cool gray,
Uh-huh.
it feels good gray. Do you have
Right.
a sense of who that is? Like, can you kind of get a vibe for what she's like?
Yeah, I think so.
In a couple seconds, the majority of listeners will be able to tap into that older woman self too. And so the
Mm-hmm.
reason we do that is because so often we think about goals or we think about what we want, we start from where we are and we look ahead. but
Right.
but that's very limiting because then we're only looking at who we are in this moment, right? We're not looking
Yeah.
at life holistically and what's most important to us. So we go to that older woman self, or in the book, we have the deathbed activity. When you look back on your life from that older woman
Right.
that you just envisioned, what has she done? What was most important to her? Where did she spend her time? Who did she spend her time with? Who is
Right.
still around? And that perspective changes everything because
Huh.
that's where intention is born. That's the direction you want to go. And what happens is that all of these societal, cultural layers that we bring into this work, those start to fall away immediately, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
someone might come in saying, I need to make a certain amount of money. Then they go through the process of connecting with their older person self and
Mm-hmm.
developing what we call life intentions. And they're like, I didn't write anything about money. And the truth is that the reason why this whole work was born was because of the research that shows when people are on their deathbed looking back, they never say, I wish I worked more. I wish I made more money. I
Yeah.
wish I stressed more. I wish I had more anxiety. I wish I worried about every detail. Nobody has ever said that, right?
Right.
They
Right.
say, I intend to spend time with these people,
Yeah.
to be of service in this specific way. I intend to travel or have new experiences. And that doesn't always mean like, just mean across the street, right? But to have new experiences or learning and growing. So, we create meaningful to everyone.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I
Across
think
the
your
board
headphones are cutting out a little bit. Say it again.
right now.
They've been going in and out a little bit. Yeah.
I've got to find the case for them so that we'll just. Okay. How about now? Can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah. There you go.
I'll get closer to the microphone. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
we do see trends across the board with people, but everyone has very unique life intentions.
Yeah.
And so then we really start designing around those and what's important to each individual person. And that's where those layers really come off.
Right. Right. I love it. So tell us about your program and what you offer people.
So our program, it's actually built out of a book. It's called Strategic Planning for Life. And it's a book that Phil and I wrote together. It's a two-phase process. Like I said, we believe that designing a life with intention is founded and grounded, deeply rooted in self-awareness. And then it is actually implemented and actualized through the habitual process of reflection and integration. So you can have all the self-awareness in the world, right? But if you don't action it, then it doesn't matter, right? So
it sits in a book, right? Yeah. And that's it.
So we made it into, Phil and I really spent a ton of time thinking about, okay, is this just a 1 hour thing? Is it like, could it just be a speaking engagement? Could it be, just a 3 session? And we realized that we need 9 weeks at minimum to go through and actually start to rewire thinking and thoughts in our brain to be able to say, okay, I'm going to make new decisions. I'm going to design my life around what matters most. And so it's a 9-week experience that takes you from like really big picture, high level, like, how am I treating myself lately? What am I most proud of? These big questions. Right. To at the very end, we have very actionable small steps. Like I said, those compounding interests, those compounding steps that make all the difference. So it's really been well thought out to bring that awareness. We all do personal development, but bring that out into the actual world. So come take that inner voice, that little intuition, that whisper.
Yes.
Map it out. And we do, really the strategic plan is meant for like a 12-week cycle, because change doesn't happen overnight. Incremental changes happen immediately and people see changes immediately. But for us to really measure on if it's successful or not, we want some time, at least a couple months. So we do a 12-month period of strategic planning, and then people can cycle through it. So it's built for individuals, couples, and then teams can take their people through it.
Right.
And they do the work, and then it's built so that they can come back and do it again. Back and do it again. So my husband and I have been doing it for years, and that's really where all of it was born, is we were going out into our own lives and wanting to be more intentional with our time. We just started doing it. We just started refining the process and seeing what worked, and then started sharing it with people in really small ways. And then they started giving us feedback, and we're like, oh, wow, this is actually very valuable. Let's keep refining it.
Wow. And so I guess as your children get older, as your business grows, you're constantly then revisiting it.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So we have the book, but the course is a one-on-one guided experience with us, or a group experience.
Okay.
So we have virtual sessions. We go through it. We are also going to launch a virtual option where someone can DIY it. So that will be up. And then eventually we'll have a kids version. So we're currently working with Dr. Melanie McNally, another fellow renegade. Yes. And she has been reviewing our work and helping us to start thinking about how to share it with a younger and younger audience, because we want to be able to bring our own kids into it and give them an opportunity to do it in a fun way, not in our like adult way. So we do it every year as a family. And then our oldest son is 4. And so within the next year, he'll be integrated into it and asked. So we already do some intention setting with them, but just very like high level. We'll write it on one of those Chinese lanterns and then release them into there. So it's fun and engaging. But I
love that. So where can people find you? And so am I understanding they can buy just the book if they want?
They cannot buy the book right now. they can connect with us at owlandkey.co. So anyone who's interested can sign up to learn more about an individual experience or group experience, also for couples or for teams. So you can do all of that on our website. And
Okay.
then the virtual DIY option will also be available on the website here soon in the next couple months.
Oh, wow. I love that.
Thank you.
I
And we
love
also
that.
have similar, we have podcasts. So the Unlocked podcast, we definitely are just trying to get, similar to you, Elaine, just like content out there for anyone who's interested. They don't have to go through the course. We just want to make this mindset and this philosophy available to anybody who would like. So we have the Unlocked podcast, which can also be found at the website, and then on Instagram. They can find us there at owl_and_key.
Okay, awesome. So give us our little bit of homework if people want to open up a journal page and just go over some of these amazing tips you shared with us today. So tell us again, what can we think about? What can we take away?
So I would say with our work, it's so based on reflection.
Yeah.
So the first homework item is to actually get out a notebook and actually sit down to pause. And that's the first homework item, is to actually pause, even if it's only 5 minutes, right? Just pause for 5 minutes. And so then the next question can be a couple questions you can write down is, how have I been treating myself lately?
Yep.
Write some things down. Then maybe take some time to think about, okay, where is my energy going? What's driving me? What's draining me?
Okay.
Go through that energy process. The other thing to think about is what am I most proud of? Maybe write down some other really positive things about yourself that feel, uplifting and empowering, and like superpowers. Like, what's your unique superpower? Mine is certainly not cooking, so I don't do that, right?
Right.
And then the last one, and this is a little bit bigger, but connect with that older woman's self. And what would she tell you to do in any instance? If there's ever a moment, and if anyone listening to this is in what do I do about this certain situation? Go to your older woman self and say, what would she tell me to do? What would she tell me to do right now? And then do that. Doesn't matter what anybody else would tell you, because most of the time they're going to tell you to do something logical or different, or like that feels like a should.
Yeah.
But that older woman self, I tell you, she's already there. She already exists. She already has so much wisdom to share. And when we let that out and we follow that intuition, this, Elaine, when we follow that, especially as women, it makes such a world of difference in our lives.
Oh, all the time. I mean, as an entrepreneur, the biggest mistakes I've made are when I have not listened to my intuition and I've let somebody talk me out of it.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I'm so glad you said that. I feel like everyone listening, it feels the exact same way about anything other aspect in life. If you make that decision based on what somebody else tells you should do, it might be fine, but some of the worst decisions I've ever made in the same boat as you, like that, they didn't come from that intuition.
Yeah. Yeah.
So important.
Oh my goodness. If there's any questions out there, drop them in the chat. But Krista, this has been fantastic. I know I'm going to open my journal tomorrow morning. I'm going to work on some of those questions. I also like to think about stuff as I walk. I find when I'm outside in nature moving, I think that's another way that sort of your intuition can kick in when you're unplugged from everything.
I completely agree. Walking, driving, showering, that conscious mind gets out of the way. And when those little whispers pop up, I so agree. Or gardening, just being outside, it makes such a difference.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, well, I hope everyone go over and follow Krista over at Owl and Key. And certainly DM her or me, or send us an email. Tell us any pearls of wisdom that came up for you. We would love to hear about it. And certainly go check out their website and their program. I just think these are fantastic questions for people to ask themselves and to keep revisiting it. I think that's so important.
Elaine, thank you for all of that. And you know how big of a fan I am of you and your products. So
Oh,
to
thank you.
be that you are in my life every single day. So if
Ah,
anyone is listening, go get you some Elaine Wellness, especially the collagen. I highly recommend.
yes.
So thank you for having me be a part of this. It has been such a joy. I have really enjoyed the time together.
Yes. Well, thank you so much. And thank you, everybody, for listening. And be sure to contact us if you have any questions. So
Absolutely.
thank you, Krista. Enjoy your evening.
Thank
No
you.
cooking.
Yeah, no cooking. Already ordered out. All right,
Perfect.
thank
Thank you
you.
so much.
All right, talk to you
Bye,
soon.
Krista.
Bye bye.
Bye.